forestall the announcement, but in vain.
Hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei has been duly elected.
Dreams were shattered. Political careers were on the line. Ruto was now president.
I'm telling you the truth. This man was supposed to be our person. Yeah. But what is happening? Watch a video. Nikamwambia no, it is you to arrest Chebukati for bungling what? Elections. Then Cherera to announce Baba as what? As the winner. You see. Or we go for
a
rerun. Because the election is already being bungled. Hey, nikasema yenyewe this was a fake deep state.
There was a section of Azimio that over-relied on the civil servants. And they failed to appreciate and understand that the civil servants are transient in nature. They will move from this government to the next. Theirs is to be careful. They have to be very, very careful. They have really no loyalty to a government that is likely whose term has come to an end.
The UDS side called it in court, they call it a tragic comedy. And in some ways, I agree with them. It was very tragic, how a whole nation was taken for granted. And a game was played, at a very high level, including by the international media, the international community.
There were people who were saying, why did you allow Chebukati to announce these things at Bomas? Why didn't you bomb it? Why didn't you arrest him? Why didn't you, all those kind of things. And you can do those things. But who tells you that after that you have a country? What did it take Tunisia to lose a country for quite a number of years? Or Algeria? Just a hawker saying, I have had enough. And he set himself on fire. And that was the end of the country.
Immediately after the elections, the Azimio One Kenya Presidential Campaign Secretariat set up camp at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, where plans for a grand party were in top gear in anticipation of a positive outcome from the August 8th presidential poll. They were confident of a win.
At times I just sleep and wake up in the middle of the night, asking myself what really happened.
Did the Raila Odinga team rely too much on outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta to deliver victory? Did Azimio then fail to pull its weight in the polls?
This election, we cannot blame Kenya Kwanza. We have to blame ourselves. Within our house, that is where the problem started. Personally, I knew now I would not be sitting in this office, Muredi. Right now, I would be serving Kenyans at a different level as a cabinet secretary, either for interior or education. But look at me now. I promised Embakasi East residents that I was going to give them jobs. Some were going to work in Garissa from Embakasi East. Some were going to work in Kisumu. Some were going to Nyeri. Some were going to remain here in Nairobi.
Raila Odinga himself did not lose much as a person from the loss. But Kenya lost so much. Yeah. Raila Odinga is, without a doubt, the best president Kenya never had.
In the run-up to the elections, a number of key issues remained unaddressed, and insiders feel that could have played a huge part in the outcome of the election.
We went wrong the minute we dismantled some of those structures, because the campaign board was supposed to run practically everything. But then, at some point, the campaign board was slowly dismantled by individuals who wanted to, who had their own agenda, let me put it that way. And then it became a more individualized, an individualized structure, a structure that depended primarily now on individuals as opposed to a group of people
Lawyer Said Tabao Olekanchori, Raila Odinga's chief agent in the August 8th presidential poll, blames who he calls faceless individuals who ran the show and wanted their word to be law.
We could not have lost this election if it wasn't for three people. Three. The first one is Junet Mohammed. The second one is Joe Musheru. And the third one is Professor Makau Mutua. And I'll tell you their roles. And these are people I have worked with, and they're people I respect. But in terms of responsibility, they take the highest responsibility. Junet Mohammed, because Junet Mohammed is a one man who purported to know everything. And he nullified everything everyone else said. He also ensured that he kept the people who could have helped Baba, at arm's length. He ensured that nobody came close to Baba who would have helped him, because he wanted to be the alpha and the omega of the campaigns and of the agents management system. And Joe Musheru, because Joe Musheru was a saboteur in the system. And he succeeded. And I'll tell you how he succeeded. Anybody who had a role, including who were printing the letters that I signed, were his people. The people who were typing the names were his people. And they were under instructions not to deliver. And they ensured that they did not deliver. Very simple things like letters just getting to agents in time, taken away from the signatory, myself. And they were controlled by Joe Musheru's people. And Joe Musheru ensured that the letters did not arrive on time. Of course, Junaid Mohammed had his role also in the agents, in the mess, because these are people who did not listen to anything that anybody else had to say. They knew everything. They were know-it-alls. Then, of